Alice Walker is an African-American novelist, short story writer, social activist, and poet from Eatonton, Georgia, and is the eighth child of Willie Lee and Minnie Lou Grant Walker, who were both sharecroppers. When Walker was 8 years old, her brother accidentally shot her with his BB gun, blinding and scarring her right eye. As a result, she began to take up reading and writing as her mom gifted her a typewriter, allowing her to write instead of do chores with her siblings. This handicap influenced her writing as she withdrew herself from others and became extremely observant of human relationships and interactions. Walker attended the only high school in Eatonton available to Black citizens, then continuing her education at Spelman College, and later transferring to Sarah Lawrence, where she graduated with a degree in literature. Following her graduation in 1965, Walker married Melvin Rosenman Levinthan, a Jewish civil rights lawyer, becoming the first interracial couple to be legally married in Mississippi in 1967 since miscegenation laws were introduced to the state. Through the breadth of her career, Walker has published 17 novels and short story collections, 12 nonfiction texts, and collections of essays and poetry, the first of which was a collection of poems called Once, published in 1968, and her most widely known novel, The Color Purple, in 1982. The Color Purple won a Pulitzer Prize for fiction, making Walker the first Black woman to win this award for literature. Much of her writing reflects her roots in Georgia, where both Black vernacular and the mark of slavery and oppression was prominent, specifically speaking through the lens of African American women's experiences. Walker's work as a feminist and advocate for the Black community led to her coinage of the term womanism. The term first appears in her short story, Coming Apart, and later in Search of Our Mother's Gardens, Women's Prose, defining a womanist as a Black feminist or feminist of color. She has received criticism for this term, as some people believe she is attempting to remove Black women from the larger feminist movement, in which she has responded, saying that it has nothing to do with that, and rather everything to do with holding on to, with what she describes as this very specific tradition we have, exemplified by Harriet Tubman, where you free yourself and go back, and you free other people. Womanism is a movement within feminism that places anti-racism and class-based oppression at its core. In Walker's words, womanist is to feminist as purple is to lavender, claiming that the feminist movement functions underneath the larger ideological umbrella of womanism, as a womanist is committed to both men and women's prosperity in hopes of a world where they can coexist whilst maintaining cultural distinctiveness. The ultimate question that the womanist movement hopes to answer is how we can share power equitably among all races and sexes. Walker was also a civil rights activist during the civil rights movement. She met Martin Luther King Jr. when she was a student at Spelman and explains that it was this connection that led her to make the decision to move back to the South, where she worked in Georgia to register Black voters, and later moved to New York, working at the New York Department of Welfare. Walker's writing and activism confronts African American struggles and history of oppression as a means to make significant change within the way our society functions, explaining that progress affects few, only revolution can affect many.